Hi everyone, Pete here from NeuroMedTech. Today is the International Taiji and Qi Gong Awareness Day, and to celebrate that I thought I would do a really quick talk on what is Qi Gong from a biomedical perspective. So firstly, I'd like to say hi to all of our Qi Gong family out there in the world. I hope that you're enjoying your practice today, and just take a brief moment to also pay respect to our teachers who have handed this down to us over the generations. We're very, very grateful for that knowledge. Coming forward into the modern world though, what's the biomedical perspective on this and how does it work? So let's do a quick overview. So essentially Qigong constitutes four regulating methods. They are postural integration, breath regulation and control, mind quality control, and movement therapeutics. That's what we consider break it down to. And there are tendencies towards certain practices, maybe focusing more towards one or the other of those. An example being Gong for standing practices. This is more posture regulation versus something like Taiji, obviously far more movement orientated, and certain types of, say, Gong techniques like breath and mind regulation. It might focus on one or the other, or all of them. Essentially though, these four regulating methods are the hallmarks of what Qigong practice is about. When we use these four regulating methods in the body, they generate some interesting mechanisms on the human organism. I'm going to break that down to four key areas that consistently come up in modern biomedical research. So firstly, we have the neurological mechanism, and then we have the physical mechanisms, the metabolic, and attentional awareness mechanisms. So we're just going to go into those really briefly. So essentially, when you're practicing Qigong, you're generating neuroregulatory and rehabilitation mechanisms in the peripheral afferent nociceptive nervous system, the information coming into the body, the autonomic nervous system, the balance of the sympathetic and parasympathetic pathways, and at the central nervous system, where given time with regular habitual practice, we start to see positive neuroplastic changes taking place there, which is super exciting. At a physical level, we've got skeletal alignment and joint articulation functions taking place, building of bone density, improved mobility, balance outcomes, the list goes on. There are myofascial and muscular changes in the body, so correcting myofascial chains, strengthening and or relaxing soft tissues, rehabilitating mobility disorders, there's a huge list there, and circulatory changes as well, just enhancing peripheral circulation, very, very important. Irrigating the body with nutrients, just wonderful. So we've got some neurological mechanisms, we've got some physical mechanisms. There's also metabolic changes that take place, and these are really important. An example would be the O2 effect, where we're saturating the bloodstream and swelling up the hemoglobin with more oxygen, and that has some wonderful effects for many of our metabolic systems. Obviously, improved energy metabolism as a whole is the big one, and there are multiple knock-on effects there into the circulatory system around regulation of heart rate, regulation of breath rate, immune and hormonal regulation. There are many lovely mechanisms that are hidden inside there. Interestingly, for Qigong, we also have this attentional awareness component, which is one of the things that makes it quite unique. So in this area we have metacognition, the development of awareness of thinking and thought process that then affects attentional awareness around emotions and cognitive functions and processing. So this is a wonderful technique for mental emotional health and well-being, or optimizing the nervous system for improved concentration, as an example. And we have a whole raft of visualization type techniques that might include attentional awareness training, like focusing on the heart or the lower dantian in the abdomen, as an example. These might also be body scanning techniques, or following the flow of Qi, as they called it, through the channels. There are many lovely mechanisms. So the way that I see this is quite simple. Essentially, the medical and observable things that we can see taking place inside Qigong practice are very, very powerful for health and well-being and health rehabilitation. And we can simply break it down to 4 key areas: neurological, physical, metabolic, and attentional changes. So that's a really quick overview, but obviously there's some big steps that have to be taken to mastering this, and certainly daily practice is absolutely key. So feel free to jump online, look at some of the movement therapeutics in our pages, and if you're looking for more traditional systems, I'd highly recommend jumping over to the Forest Rock Taiji and Qi Gong School. They've got an absolute plethora of amazing material there too. All right, nice to see you. Bye.